Okay, if you remember our shading rules, whenever we shade a flat plane, a flat surface, then we're actually doing a nice, consistent, even tone with whatever value we've got. Nice and even all the way across. We don't want a bunch of anything changing or light or dark areas. Be careful for what's underneath your paper, because if you've got a little scratch in the table or something stuck under there, it's going to go ahead and make it darker when your pencil goes over that. So make sure your surface is clean to start with. That's one reason these drawing boards are used. If you find a drawing board that's all beat up, I would stay away from it and go to something else. Okay, so flat planes are a consistent, even value. That's compared to if we were shading a convex or a concave surface like a sphere. Then you would use a gradient where you're going to go from light to darker to darker to darkest. That's what our gradient is. These are not convex or concave surfaces. These are all flat planes. So unless you've got a cast shadow, like maybe under this flap somewhere, and that's up to where you're sitting, you're going to have to make that decision. Most of these are going to be a very even tone, whatever it is. If this is a 2, it's going to be a nice even 2 all the way across. Okay, you can. If I'm getting ready to shade a plane, I would go ahead and erase that little number you wrote, just so you don't see it before you start shading, so you don't accidentally draw it darker than that plane is supposed to be and have to go back and erase and fix it. Something else that's very important: these outlines that you've got right here. We want to erase those right before we start shading that plane, because we're not drawing a cartoon that has an outline around it. We're drawing a flat plane where the plane surface is made up of that value or that shade that you're doing. For example, if you've got a couple boxes here, you want your box to look like this, where you can't see those outline lines, as opposed to this, where you can see those outline lines that are going to stick out like a sore thumb and make it look kind of cartoonish when you get done. So erase those outlines before you start shading this thing.